Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our specialty programs town hall. This webinar is being recorded, just so that you know, but we'll be presenting lots of great information for you this evening, providing an overview of the resources and supports that are available to students enrolled in our specialty programs as we begin the school year fully virtual. And we wanted to take this opportunity this evening to make sure that parents had all the information they need going into the school year. For those of you who need simultaneous Spanish interpretation, the number is on the screen, and that number is 508-924-5155. So we have interpreters who are on that line who are providing simultaneous Spanish interpretation. This webinar is being recorded so that we can post the webinar on our PGCPS webpage after this recording in a few days, so that you will have access to both this recording and to the slides that we'll be presenting this evening. So during our time with you here this evening, we're going to provide an overview of virtual instruction and what that's going to look like for our students who are currently enrolled in our specialty programs throughout the district for the 2020-2021 school year. And so each of the programs represented this evening are going to just provide you with some information on the resources and the student support that's available to all of our students. After each presentation, the supervisors and directors who are on the call will be able to answer your questions in the chat. So you'll notice that there's a question and answer feature, whether you're joining us from your computer or if you are joining from your phone. And so please be sure to get your questions in there, and we will be working to answer them for you. For those of you who were not able to join our earlier session, and if there's a program that was featured, please know that that session also was recorded and will be posted on our website in a few days so that you can get that information as well. So during this town hall, we have 3 K-8 programs and 2 high school programs that are going to be featured. Our Talented and Gifted Center programs, led by Teresa Jackson, are going to provide an overview of the virtual supports for students. Our Immersion program, led by Carmen Henninger, is going to be providing information. Our Creative and Performing Arts, as well as our Visual and Performing Arts program, will be providing information, and that's the Creative Arts Officer, Mr. Lee Gibbs. And finally, we also have our Science and Technology program that's featured at several schools throughout the district that will be providing information as well during this town hall. So with that said, we're going to begin with our K-8 program. And again, if you do need simultaneous Spanish interpretation, the number is here on the screen for you, 508-924-5155. And we'll begin with our Talented and Gifted program.
Good evening. The Talented and Gifted program, the TAG Center program, is the lottery-based program. We have 7 elementary schools and 5 middle schools that have this program. Once students are TAG identified, they can apply to the lottery to receive placement into the TAG Center program. And that's what I'll focus on for most of the presentation. And then at the end, I'm going to add a little bit about some general questions that might come up regarding some of our other TAG programs, our TAG Pullout program and our TAG in the Regular Classroom program. And I will also let you know that we have about 12,000 TAG students in the district in grades 2 through 12. Our TAG programs are for students in grades 2 through 8. I was asked some questions about once they get into high school, what do they do? Many of our TAG identified students like the Science and Tech program, the International Baccalaureate program, some of the high school specialty programs. So I'm sharing that up front in case that is something you're interested in. So now I'll focus on distance learning in our TAG Center programs. Our TAG Center teachers are going to implement our special features virtually. They will utilize all of the resources and the technology that we have secured. The content area supervisors, including the World Language Department, has purchased some additional virtual learning platforms to help the teachers better meet the needs of our students. And our TAG Center teachers will use these resources to differentiate, accelerate, and enrich the curriculum in order to meet their needs. Some of these platforms include Nearpod and Pear Deck, Newzilla, iReady, Dreambox, Mango Learning, and there are many more. So our TAG Center teachers will use this information, apply gifted education best practices to really provide educational experiences for our gifted learners. One strategy that will be really important to use during distance learning is pre-assessment. We will expect the TAG Center teachers to pre-assess our students to find out what it is they know so that we know what it is that we need to teach them. And that will help them cover a lot of content without being bored or being retaught content. So that is one of the major best practices that we will be using. We will be providing enrichment opportunities for our students, but it will be in the virtual learning space, and it will also vary from school to school based on student interest. Our students will be meeting with their teachers in real time. They will receive direct instruction. They will also have access to recorded lessons in order to be able to review those lessons. Our TAG Center teachers and the TAG Center coordinators will have office hours so that both parents and teachers, or parents and coordinators and teachers, everyone will be able to, and students will be able to contact the coordinators to get support, ask questions about grading, about assignments. So keep an eye out for those office hours when they are posted. Our TAG Center coordinators and our teachers will continue to have access to professional development in order to meet their needs. Whenever you have any questions regarding your student, feel free to contact that TAG Center coordinator. They're one of your biggest resources all the time, but especially during distance learning. On the slide, you'll see the names of all of our elementary and middle schools. You'll also see that it addresses our twice exceptional learners. Our twice exceptional learners will receive their direct virtual support as identified in their IEPs and 504s. In the elementary schools, we will continue our biweekly forums. Our TAG Center elementary coordinators will organize those, and with the support of the professional school counselor and the special educator, they will meet and address any special needs that the students have, address some social and emotional needs and supports. At the middle school, our twice exceptional students may be in the academic resource honors course. If that is in their IEP, they will receive direct support with that academic honors course. They will also receive access and support through in their classes from their teacher and their special education team. So that's the overview. There are a lot of supports. If by the end of this town hall I don't answer all of your questions in the Q&A, please feel free to email the TAG coordinators directly. You can email anyone in the TAG office staff. We will be happy to help you. A few other related things to TAG, but not specific to the specialty program, that came up that I thought I would add here. I received questions about identification. At this time, we do not have information regarding identification, but we are working on a plan. As soon as we have that, we will make sure that it is shared on our website and social media. The other question I had was about lottery deadlines. Historically, the lottery application opens up in January and closes in mid-March. We will post the exact dates if anything changes when that is decided. So, one last thing, if I have any parents of TAG students that are out there that are interested in getting into a TAG center and did not fill out the lottery application last year, there is a late lottery application open up right now, and there are some seats available at certain schools at certain grades. And you can consider applying if that is something you're interested in. And Dr. McDaniel, it's your turn.
Thank you, Teresa, for sharing those supports that are available to our talented and gifted center students. And I see a few questions in the chat for you, so I'll let you get to those. As we move into our immersion program, Carmen Henninger will provide an overview of the support. And Carmen, I see parents are eager to hear about what support is available to immersion students with regards to language acquisition, particularly when parents do not speak the native language.
Good evening. My name is Carmen Henninger, and I'm the supervisor of immersion programs. And I'm really excited to share with you this evening. This year we've expanded, and we're now in 10 schools with 3 languages. And we added Kettering Middle School this year. So welcome, Kettering Middle School. We have worked diligently this summer to create some virtual learning resources. Those resources have been collated together with principals and will be shared at all of your orientation meetings. But also, we've come up with some norms. So virtual learning students will meet live to receive language arts instruction in the language. We're also providing professional development to help teachers ensure that students will have daily opportunities in all 3 modes of communication. Our small group instruction will be provided at least 3 days a week in our K-5 programs. Our literacy intervention teachers are provided to our K-5 schools who teach French or Spanish language arts to assist struggling readers with an emphasis on K-2 levels with our language acquisition. The Immersion Office is providing new adaptive software for K-2 Spanish immersion students called Imagine Learning Español, and for K-1 French immersion students called Lalilo, in addition to other online resources to provide students with phonics and comprehension practice. Our office, in conjunction with the principals, have created that distance learning document that has a plethora of resources in order to help parents and to help students. If you have specific questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to our office at immersion.programs@pgcps.org. I also wanted to let you know that at this time, we still have spaces available at Maya Angelou French Immersion for the kindergarten and a late lottery, for Overlook Spanish Immersion for kindergarten and a late lottery, and for Cesar Chavez Spanish Immersion for kindergarten for home language Spanish. If you're interested in that information, I'll be happy to post that link for the late lottery application in the Q&A section. Thank you, Dr. McDaniel.
Thank you, Carmen. So hopefully we are able to alleviate some of the anxieties that some of our immersion parents have with their students learning a language that they don't know, but knowing that they're going to be getting the same similar supports that they receive in a face-to-face environment with their teachers. They'll be getting that in a virtual model and having lots of resources available to support their language acquisition. For those of you who joined a little bit later, I just wanted to reiterate that this town hall is focused on specific specialty programs. So we'll be going over our Talented and Gifted program, our Immersion program, the Visual, Creative, and Performing Arts program, and our Science and Technology program. If there were programs that we may have covered in our previous town hall earlier this evening that you want to learn more about, the recording for that town hall will be available in a few days on our website, so definitely keep an eye out for the slides from that session as well as the recording. We're going to move on to our Creative and Performing Arts program with the Creative Arts Officer, Mr. Lee Gibbs.
Good evening, everyone. So the Creative and Performing Arts programs are housed at Benjamin D. Floyd Creative and Performing Arts Academy, Hyattsville Middle School, as well as Thomas G. Pullen Creative and Performing Arts Academy. Our academies, the Creative and Performing Arts Academies, are K-8 programs, and Hyattsville Middle School is currently for students grades 7 and 8. In order to get into the CPA program at Floyd and Pullen, in the kindergarten, it is a lottery program. For 6th grade, it is an audition-based acceptance program. We do offer all 6 content areas: visual art, media art, dance, vocal music, instrumental music, and theater as a part of the instruction in our CPA programs. Our students will meet with teachers virtually in real time to receive direct instruction. They will also have access to pre-recorded and recorded lessons for small group and independent assignments and projects. Students and teachers will also have online texts as well as resources provided. And our K-5 students at the CPAs will have a different fine art in their schedule every day. Students in grades 3 through 5 who have selected or signed up for instrumental music will have a half-hour block for instrumental music pullout at least once per week. The 6th through 8th graders that are a part of our CPA programs will see their major class, which is the art form that they auditioned for and were accepted for, at least twice per week. Of course, we will make every effort to have our exhibits, performances, and festivals take place, more than likely virtually. However, of course, right now we are focusing on providing individual and small group instruction, providing as many opportunities as we can with that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lee. I can't wait to see those virtual showcases that our students in our Creative and Performing Arts programs participate in. I know there was a question in the chat regarding the simultaneous Spanish interpretation line, so I did add that number into the chat. That number is 508-924-5155 for those of you who would like to have our Spanish interpretation line. And it's also on the screen here before we transition into our high school programs that we'll be talking about this evening. With that said, we're going to move into our high school programs. And Dr. Martin Lateef is going to give us an overview of what virtual instruction looks like in our science and technology programs that are in 3 schools across the district.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Science and Technology is a STEM program that is housed at 3 centers across the district. We're at Charles Herbert Flowers High School, Eleanor Roosevelt High School, and Oxon Hill High School. To help our students continue to be STEM-tastic, we will be looking at making some modifications and innovations in our courses. As you know, we will be virtual, and the students will have virtual instruction real-time with their teachers. In addition, we are taking teachers through a project-based learning training so that they can help the students to be more independent in their actions and thinking. We will also be helping our students to access software that we typically use in school, help them access that software on the Chromebooks by using web-based software, some of which we are still investigating, but we have approved Onshape as a alternative to SolidWorks. We're still working with our technology colleagues to determine other softwares for some of our more advanced engineering and architecture classes. In addition, we are looking at putting out monthly competitions, mini competitions, through the STEM office for the students to engage them in the engineering design process and transdisciplinary learning for 21st century learning skills. And the last piece I would like to talk about is that we will be looking at tutoring opportunities peer-to-peer and peer-to-mentor using college students from our partners at the surrounding universities. That's all. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email stem@pgcps.org. There was one question that I did see of what can I do to help prepare my child for distance learning. When it comes to the science and tech student, we encourage you to find a quiet space if possible for your child to do their real live instruction. In addition, help your child to stay organized and focused by helping them to keep a log of assignments that they need to have done. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Martin-Lutti. I just wanted to address some of the general questions in the chat question and answer before we move on. So I saw a few questions about computer pickup and possibly some students who didn't have a computer or a device previously. And so every student will have a device assigned to them, and they will be distributed from their schools. So please listen or check out your school websites as well as potential robocalls that will be coming from the school to give you information on what dates to pick up computers. So also this session is for students who are current families that are currently enrolled in our specialty programs that should provide an overview of what virtual instruction will look like. However, if anyone has joined us to find out information about the application and eligibility process for next school year, our 2021-22 school year, that information will be coming this fall. So please make sure that I'll give some information at the end where you can follow us on Twitter and also continuously check the PGCPS website for updates as that information is forthcoming. So we're going to continue with our high school programs with our visual and performing arts program.
Hello again. Dr. McDaniel, if it's all right, I want to go back and answer some of the questions that were reoccurring regarding the CPA programs. Specifically, there was a person who was asking about the creative writing for Hyattsville Middle School. Hyattsville Middle School, that curriculum is a part of the theater program, and it will be continuing. It is basically an offshoot of the theater program. And so, yes, that will be continuing on with Hyattsville Middle School. I did not mention that because, again, it's a part of the theater program. As far as materials, that's the question that keeps coming up. Will there be materials disseminated? Yes, we are working with our principals to determine what exactly would be necessary, what would be provided by the schools, what will be provided, or what we're requesting that the parents would purchase for their students. We're working and disseminating that list to the schools, and we will be sharing that as quickly as we have everything in line. As it relates to our high schools, the visual and performing arts schools, we have Northwestern High School and Suitland High School. Both of those schools are audition-based high schools, and as Dr. McDaniel has mentioned, we will be convening with our school year 21-22 auditions at a later time. So please stay on the Creative Arts website, as well as just looking back at the specialty programs to see when we will start the audition process. But the students at Northwestern High School and Suitland High School will meet with their teachers both virtually in real time to receive direct instruction, as well as through some pre-recorded lessons for small group and independent assignments and projects. Students and teachers will have access to online textbooks and resources such as WeVideo, Final Cut Pro. We will also be using a lot of other technologies that will allow us to work directly with our students, especially in the applied or the private lessons for our voice and instrumental music students. We are also, of course, going to be monitoring as far as how we can do our exhibits and performances, as I mentioned before, to make sure that we do offer those opportunities to showcase the talents of our students. We were very successful in doing online art galleries, and so we're talking about continuing that for this year as well. And we're looking at how we can advance even some of the other the art forms that we are proud to represent. In addition, just so you know, the VPA student schedules include an additional period, or what we call the fifth period, which is dedicated to the study of and focus on their designated art form. So in addition to all of their core content, we do spend a little bit more time focusing on the arts. And Depending on the art form, you will have an applied lesson teacher, which is an individual who is brought in specifically on an instrument or for a particular voice or piano to provide one-on-one instruction as well as small group instruction to make sure that we are giving and providing students with the best opportunity to be successful. If I may also answer another question that I saw from the chat, as I mentioned, auditions have not been determined yet for the upcoming school year. When those dates will be, we are working to determine what that will be. As far as students that were already entering Suitland High School, for instance, or Northwestern High School, in order to be a part of the VPA, you do have to audition in. And so we do encourage you to also follow the web pages as well as any announcements that will be coming regarding when we will be doing the auditions. We were successful in having virtual auditions after we were, once we left the schoolhouse. And so we were able to do that virtually. And so we know that we'll be successful in our endeavors as we go into the next round of auditions. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. That was a lot of information, and our Spanish interpreters are trying to catch up with you now. So I'm going to give them a minute to make sure that they are able to share all of that information. Again, we designed this session to provide an overview of what virtual instruction will look like for our students that are currently enrolled in our specialty programs, and what supports and resources will be available to them during the 2020-2021 school year. If anyone missed our previous session, there will be a recording posted on the website in a few days on our PGCPS website, so please feel free to check that out. We also encourage you to follow us on Twitter at PGCPS for general school system updates, and also at PGCPS Specialty for specific resources and updates regarding our specialty program. If there are any questions that did not get answered this evening, please feel free to reach out to me, Kia McDaniel, at the email address on the screen, which is pgcps.teachandlearn@pgcps.org. I wanted to give our supervisors another opportunity. I know they provided an overview to address any other questions that may have come up in the question and answer or anything they wanted to clarify for those of you on the call. So we'll go back to Talented and Gifted, Teresa Jackson. Teresa, was there anything you wanted to share based on the questions that have been asked?
I'm receiving some questions about PSAT. So I know Ms. Hall's not on the call, but do you want to address the PSAT situation with 8th graders?
Absolutely. And so we are in collaboration with College Board if we will be able to offer the PSAT this school year, because we're not sure if it will be able to be provided in a virtual format. So if we are not able to offer the PSAT, we're currently looking into what other criteria we can utilize in order to see what our criteria will be for specialty program entrance for the 2021-2022 school year, because many of you know, some of our programs utilize PSAT data in order to, along with GPA, student GPA, to determine if a student is eligible for some of our specialty programs. So we're in the planning stages right now of looking at what the criteria will be if we are unable to offer the PSAT. So thanks for pointing that out, Teresa.
I will add, because it's very similar. I'm having questions about 1st and 3rd graders being tested and screened for the TAG program. It's the same answer. We are exploring our options at this point to do testing in a distance learning space. And right now we don't have the solution, but we are working very hard on it. And as soon as we have answers, we will share that widely. So that is where we are with tag testing and screening, whether it be first grade or third grade or new registrants. So that's a big topic. The other, there's just some generic questions about, how do I know what specialty program I would go to? So parents should know that if you're applying to the lottery to go to a school that's outside of your neighborhood school, then you can go to School Finder on the Prince George's County website. Just go pgcps.org, in the search engine, type School Finder, type in your street name, and it will tell you your neighborhood schools. And then if you scroll far enough, it will tell you your tag center, your Montessori, your immersion, everything, and then as well as your high school options. So School Finder is your friend when you want an answer for that. And that's it for me.
All right, thanks, Teresa. Carmen, are there any things you want to highlight from the questions you've been answering this evening?
Hi again. Most people are asking about the resources. Those resources, the list of resources in the distance learning document have not been released yet. Principals were asked to hold up until after today. So please look for that soon. And also, I wanted to point out one more time that we have space available for kindergarten at Overlook Spanish Immersion, at Maya Angelou French Immersion, and at Cesar Chavez full Spanish Immersion, or Cesar Chavez for Spanish native speakers for kindergarten. We also have 2 additional programs that I didn't talk about. We added dual language pre-K at Capitol Heights Elementary, and there are some spaces available if you are in the encatchment area for the neighborhood for Capitol Heights, or TAG for the Capitol Heights area. And there are spaces available at Overlook for the dual language pre-K. Please contact those schools, and they can give you the entrance requirements for those programs.
Thank you, Carmen. And I also see some questions about how do they enter the late lottery that's available for some of the lottery programs. And so that information is on our webpage. It's on our main webpage right now. You see that information about how to apply for some of those late lotteries.
So you can also email us at immersion.programs@pgcps.org, and we will send you the direct link if you like.
Awesome. Thank you. Science and technology, did you have any questions that you want to clarify for the group that you've been answering in the chat?
Yes, a couple of questions have come up. If I did not mention it, please let me mention it now, that our students in Research Practicum are allowed to use secondary data this year. In addition, our students who are in internship, we have been brainstorming very innovative ways for them to interact with their mentors. And we're really excited to know that the mentors are getting on board with using video devices and pretty much doing what is known as a vlog, a video log, real time with the students. So even though they can't be there personally with the mentors, they will be walking through the mentors' day and talking with the mentors and doing other activities to help them understand the career for mentors. In addition, another question came up about scheduling. Scheduling is done at the high school level, so you need to talk to your high school and your professional school counselor or the science and tech coordinator specifically about your scholar schedule. We do not manage the schedule at this level, but we are working with the schools to provide the best suggestions that we can as they navigate the schedules for their schools.
Thank you. One of the questions that came up in the chat that reminds me of a resource I just want to point everyone to was about socialization for students. And so if we had any suggestions on how to allow students to socialize with one another, because students do miss their friends. And so one of the things that you'll notice in our reopening plan is the option for schools to host some lunch bunch groups to have an opportunity for students to get together over lunch and be able to have some casual conversations with one another that might not be academically focused, so that they have time to just talk to one another. So stay tuned for some of those. And that also leads me to just point you all to our reopening website, where the full Prince George's County Public Schools reopening plan is posted. And so you can go to pgcps.org/reopen to the executive summary of our reopening plan or the full 155-page document. But you will see some great resources in there and things that will be coming up at the school level and sample schedules for schools at the elementary, middle, and high school level. Lee, did you have any other, I know you shared a lot of information during your first presentation. Was there anything you need to clarify with regards to the questions that were provided?
Yes, thank you. There was a question regarding, I mentioned that K through 5 for our Creative and Performing Arts Academies was lottery and 6 through 8 was audition, but I do want to clarify that if you are a current student in Benjamin D. Floyd or Thomas G. Pullen, you do not audition to go into the 6th grade. Your child will basically select a specific art form that they want to continue studying as they transition from 5th grade to 6th grade. So there is no audition for current students. The auditions are for those students that are attempting to become members of the family of the Creative and Performing Arts Academies for 6th through 8th grade. In addition, there are a lot of questions regarding just the idea of live instruction for the arts, especially as it relates to our performing arts. We are working very diligently with our teachers to identify the software as well as what would provide the best opportunity to allow for performance in a small group or individual setting. And so we are going to be using a lot of videos, a lot of WeVideo or Flipgrid and options such as that to make sure that we are providing that feedback that you would normally get if you were in a face-to-face setting. Also, I will say that we are attempting as best as we can to mirror what would happen if our children were in school every day. So we want to make sure that our schedules meet as closely as possible to that in-school offerings that we have available. As far as the questions are concerned, there are a couple of questions about what technology and what opportunities would be available for technology. We are discussing with our teachers as well as with our individual schools and the content supervisors to find out what devices would be necessary to make sure that we are providing the optimal opportunities for instruction as well as to showcase the work of our students. So that is a work in progress. We are working diligently behind the scenes to make sure that we have selected what will absolutely get the job done. So you will receive more information from the school directly and regarding when distribution will take place, as well as any other information regarding picking up materials for your art form. Thank you.
Thanks, Lee. And I know that your team put some of the resources, the software, and support that will be utilized in the Creative Arts Classroom in the reopening plan. So if you want to check out some of the software options that have been purchased, you can, there's also listed there. I want to just thank everyone for joining us this evening and encourage you again to connect with us on Twitter following the school system at PGCPS for all school system updates. And we also have a specialty programs Twitter account as well at PGCPS Specialty, where we provide updates that are specific to our specialty programs. And we'll continue to update you in both of those places, in addition to our main website, where all of our information is updated and posted so that families can get that information. I know there were some questions about contact from the school and getting information about school lists and things of that nature. So I'm going to encourage everyone here to make sure that you are checking your email, that your email is up to date in our parent portal and SchoolMax, that you check your messages from our robocalls that will be coming out, and that you take time to check the individual school website that will be providing information. Our principals and their school teams are working hard to gather all the information you need and share it with the community. And so those will be the main ways that we'll be able to reach out to you. So if you could make sure that you are just kind of checking our website and checking your messages and email, you'll get information from your schools information that's developed. Before we end this evening, I want to just take this opportunity to thank Monica Jenkins from our instructional technology team for her support in getting this town hall together, making sure that we are able to connect with you all. Raven Hill from our communications team, who did great advertisement, so much so that we had to have 2 sessions this evening. Our Chief Academic Officer, Dr. Kyra Libby, for her continuous support. And Dr. Gladys Whitehead, who is our Director of Early Learning, has been supporting us in this process as well. So I want to just thank all of them for their support, and for all the supervisors who are here and officers that are here this evening to present information and manage the question and answer. So again, this session and our session we had earlier this evening will be posted on the PGCPS website in a few days. So you can review this information and also provide access to the slides so that you can review any information. And if there are any specific questions that you have, please feel free to jot down the email address that you see here on the screen to reach me, Kia McDaniel, and I will be sure to answer your question or forward your question to the appropriate office for a response, so that you have all the information you need to have a successful virtual first semester in Prince George's County Public Schools. So we'll take the remaining 3 minutes. We'll remain in the chat box and our question and answer box to answer any questions that you all have. And again, you'll be able to view this information again on our website in a few days. Thank you for joining us, and have a great evening.